Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie, and this is George. George, you want to introduce yourself? What do you do, man?
So I own Compete Sport in Charleston, South Carolina. And according to yesterday's numbers, we sell a lot more flesh and blood than I thought we did yesterday. So
a bigger percentage.
My big takeaway.
A bigger percentage than you thought. That's so funny. Well, George and I have become good friends. This is actually the first time I'm seeing George face to face, which is pretty cool. But we've had 2 or 3 conversations a day for probably about a month now, and it's been pretty fun. And I thought George would be the perfect person to talk through about all this print run info. I think George knows more about this game than almost anybody in the world. And it's I think going to be really cool. It's going to be a really good conversation. So we're going to talk a little bit about George's background, how he got into TCG world, and then we'll get talking about the print run stuff and what we think is undervalued based on yesterday's crazy information. If you weren't around yesterday, the information is that the print run for ARC and WTR is 16,666 boxes or 400,000 packs. And then, as you all know, I missed Crew in my initial video because I didn't even anticipate that they would announce Crew. But Crucible of War was 900,000 booster packs, which is about 36,500 booster boxes. So that's what will kind of lead the conversation in the back. But first, I think I just want to introduce everybody to George, because George, I've heard some crazy stories on the phone with you, but the viewers haven't. Not crazy stories, but really interesting, really interesting stories just about how you got involved in your background. And like, I think people would love to hear that stuff. So what's your background in trading card games, and what made you want to get involved?
Yeah, so I found a side door into TCG ownership. Unlike, I am sure, 99% of your viewers, I did not grow up wanting to own a card game store. I know that makes me very lonely on this video, so I apologize to your viewers. Don't thumb down Louie for my idiocy, okay? That's my only rule here. Louie's still a good guy, even if I'm a moron. So going back, I'd say about 10 years, I did what I would consider to be pretty high-priced consulting. And I listen, I think I was pretty in demand. Not to toot my own horn, but people apparently thought that what I had to say wasn't completely stupid, only mostly stupid.
Yeah.
Which is a sign of a good consultant.
You're talking business consulting?
Yeah, this is business consulting. And I did, people seem to listen to me, which I thought was nice of them and stupid of them all at once. And I realized that if my advice is worth that, I should probably just do my own darn thing. So I opened up a bunch of arcades, and we own a bunch of fun centers, bowling alleys, movie theaters, arcades, all those kinds of things. And listen, I've loved every second of it. I've had a lot of jobs in my life. I had a big career transition in 08. And, in about 10, I started to open up arcades, and I've loved every second of it. And there was this woman named Kate, and Kate would not stop calling me to go visit her on the naval base. And Kate said, you got to come check out this space. And I told her, listen, I don't want to be nasty about this, but I have so much work to do. I cannot possibly take 2 hours out of my day, drive to the middle of nowhere, go look at a 1,500 square foot space, and drive 2 hours back. Right. I can't do it. I guess there's not a day this month. And I swear to you, Louie, I will bet you he called me every day for 5 months.
Trying to get you to put in an arcade in the naval base?
So she was full of deception and lies, this Kate. Let me be very clear here. She's a very lovely woman. I'm still friends with her. But she is full of deception and lies. Just like the rumor of 22,000 boxes was full of deception and lies. Is that serious of a lie? So I eventually realized I'm taking way too much time telling Kate I can't go up there. I'm just going to go up there. So I get in my car and I go see, I know we're live. I go see a non-ideal space is how I'll phrase it. I wouldn't say a bad word for what I thought of this space. The building it's basically like in a big building. They offered me a small spot in this big building, and the building is empty but for me. And they said, I want you to put a card game store in here.
Yeah.
And I said, well, there's a few problems. First, I'm not in card games.
Right.
Second, I'm the only one in the building, and there's no people.
There's no traction.
There's like, you're going to put me in the middle of the desert and say, go do an industry you know nothing about. That's a questionable decision.
Yeah.
If I was in my consulting days, I would have not recommended this course of action. And so I said, like, listen, this doesn't make sense. And like, and Kate tugged on my heartstrings, and like, she was like, listen, this is important for these kids.
Yeah.
They're 19 years old. They're 20 years old. They're on this military base, going to school, like, make their experience better.
Yeah.
Like, give back.
Yeah.
And I liked Kate. She won. So I opened up an esport arena that sells card games on this military base. And I'll be honest with you guys, I thought this was going to be a money-losing venture for me. I absolutely expect, listen, like, card games, whenever somebody has a list of the best businesses to open, card games are usually not in the top 10, is how I'll phrase it.
Yeah.
Again, sorry to burst all of your bubbles who are like, Googling starting inventory costs. But something happened and it just took off.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, opening weekend, we sold more than 100 bundles of Throne of Eldraine.
Wow. That's awesome.
I mean, like, it just happened.
Yeah. I know when I was shipping stuff on TCG Player all the time, I know that, military bases and armory, people who are in the military, it's just something to do, right? It's something to pass the time. And so I know I ship cards, and all the time military bases pop up. So it must be a popular thing.
And part of it's like, it's very portable and it's replayable.
Yeah.
You can take this 100 card deck if you're Magic, or a 40 card deck if you're Flesh and Blood, and you can play that game for 20 hours. No two games are the same. They're all a blast. Maybe not Magic so much right now, but that's okay. But Flesh and Blood will be a blast. And like, you can keep going, and it's tiny.
Yeah.
You could take it with you on the sub.
Yeah.
I've been blown away. And I would say about a year and a half ago, I got another call that changed everything. I'm very good friends with my rep from PhD.
Yeah.
I consider him a legitimate friend.
Sure.
Like, if he left PhD tomorrow and went to go sell tires, I would only get my tires from him. He's a good dude. And he was like, I need you to try this game Flesh and Blood for me.
Yeah.
And how do I say this nicely? If it were not for our friendship, I would not be carrying Flesh and Blood.
Right. Because it's a new card game, and all card games fail.
All card games fail.
Yeah.
This is like a hard rule of TCGs, right? It's like, you're gonna fail. Magic has 80,000 new products a year now. Pokemon is very close to that now. Weiss Schwartz is like in this weird spot. Is there room for another? So I took it as I wanted my rep to get some kudos from his boss.
Yeah.
So I told him I'd take a case, and I told the kids, come try out this new game. I'll buy you a pizza if you try it.
Yeah.
And that is the number one way to get college kids to try out a game.
For sure. I mean, I've been a college kid. I'll do about anything for pizza. I'm an adult, and I'll do about anything for pizza right now.
Bingo. That's how you got me to do this. I appreciate that. By the way.
Yeah, your pizza will be delivered this afternoon.
Now we're cooking with gas. I appreciate that.
No, chicken parm.
Oh, I love the chicken parms. That's how you know you're in the South.
Yeah.
You know what's better than sauce? Fried stuff covered in sauce. That is the Southern way.
So you got some boxes of WTR Alpha, and then
importantly, I got 4 boxes.
Okay.
And there's a case.
Yeah.
So I put them out there. They're like, "How do I play?" And I'm like, "I have no freaking clue. What you're seeing is what I got."
Yeah.
This was before IRA decks, I think.
Yeah.
I know I didn't get any. And I was like, "Go nuts, boys." and like they open it and they're trying to figure it out. And everybody's like, well, we have a box left. Let's draft it.
Mm.
And and I mean this, like something weird happens. I've never seen it before. Like they're into this.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like they think it's good. They're like, this is amazing.
That's cool.
And they're like, are you going to get more of this? And I was like, listen, famous last stupid words. I can get as much as you want.
I can get as much alpha boxes as you ever dream of for the next 3 years, as much as you want.
I mean, like, of course. Of course. Like, I mean, like, I was like one of 20 idiots carrying this game.
Yeah.
Of course I can get you as much as you want. How many cases do you need? So they're like, get 2 cases for next week's draft. I'm going to bring a friend. So I get 2 cases. They're gone. And
yeah.
Ooh, they're gone. You know, we start the draft, I think, at 1 p.m. on Saturday. They're gone by 1:05.
That's crazy.
They're gone. And, you know, this continues. The game's building in the store. And then, like, there's this very important conversation to my life, frankly. Keep in mind, these are people who are very invested in a different card game that's not Pokemon or White Schwartz. And I won't.
Okay, I won't say it.
You can say it. I can't say it.
In Magic the Gathering.
That's a good game that a lot of people that age would have liked at the time.
Yeah.
I hope my WotC rep heard me say that, by the way, but not too much else. And they go, can we draft this on Friday instead of the card game Louis mentioned?
Wow. And instead of their typical Friday night activities, they asked to play. Yeah. And
I think honestly, you have to be a store owner to realize how jaw-dropping that question is. When I was in college 20 years ago, FNM was a thing.
Yeah.
There was 3 sets a year. It was a little bit different. New sets were signs of excitement versus dread.
Right.
But like that was a thing when I was in college, was FNM. And for a group of people who have 5-figure, 6-figure collections in that game to come to me and say, I want out of that and into this.
That's huge.
It was, I mean, like, frankly, it was like an out-of-body experience. This is not something that happens to card owners.
Right.
I said no. I said, but like, we will do a Saturday draft every Saturday.
Okay.
And like, frankly, we now have probably more players doing this than the other game.
That's crazy.
And the other thing I don't think people realize, I think you do, Louis, because I know you're a better player than you want to believe you are. You play.
Yeah. I am a consistent, if anything, player. Consistently poor, but you know.
I like that. I'm going to steal that from you. I'm consistent.
I show up to play, you know? Like yeah. I'm not good, but I love the game. I show up to play.
So that is what happened here. I understand, to everybody watching this now, we look at this as a stock ticker almost, right? What's up? Is the hearts up? Where's Arcane compared to Welcome to Wraith? Yeah. How's Crucible doing? Why is there Shard less than Shiana? What's going on? That is so far removed from where we started. It's hard to overstate it.
Right.
You know,
because the gameplay is just good, is what you're saying, right? Like
they love the game.
People like to play the game. It's not just about the financial, but people like to play the game.
I had kids buy cases from me because they did not think Welcome to Wraith would ever be reprinted and Arcane would never come out.
I love this.
I mean, this was never a thing.
They thought the game was going to fail, right?
Yeah.
Because every all TCGs fail. But I love the game so much that I'm going to stock up on cases so that we can keep drafting when you, George, can't get more product.
Yep.
I love that
and
story.
I told you this before. I mean, I think the first or second heart I ever bought was in somebody's bulk box.
That's crazy.
Because because it's not a good card. It's not
Yeah.
a card you need to win the game. Like, and this was never going to be worth anything.
Yeah.
This was never supposed to be worth anything to these kids.
That's crazy.
The guy goes, "Hey, George, are you buying Flesh and Blood cards?" And I said, "Well, it all depends on the card.
Yeah.
I'm not buying your bulk." He goes, "Well, I think I have a heart." I'm like, "You should probably dig that up."
I hear that one's a little bit rare.
It might be worth confirming you have that. I'll be honest with you. And like, I swear to you, he brought in a box. I'll bet you 5,000 cards and dug through them.
That's crazy.
I mean, like, the investment side of this only works because the game is good.
I totally agree.
If the game stinks, I don't care if they printed 16,000 boxes or 16 boxes. Nobody wants it.
Yeah. I totally agree. It's the security blanket of the investment.
Yeah. And I mean this. I know, like, I got accused of being an LSS fanboy for my last interview with somebody. And like, I told him, like, yeah, that's a fair criticism, frankly. Yeah. They're great.
Yeah.
They care about local game stores. They have a great game, and they're not burning investors. What do you want me to complain about exactly?
Yeah, I totally agree. And as from a storefront place, I mean, it's just way better. I mean, sorry, not better. We don't need to be comparing the whole time, but like,
I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
I have gotten more support in the year and a half with LSS than every other card game combined.
Yeah, I mean, and also Flesh and Blood's not being sold on Amazon, so
certainly not by them.
Yeah,
and it's also like, think about the armory kits.
Yeah,
think about the skirmishes.
Yep. Dude, Skirmish, I'm telling you right now, Skirmish is going to go down. In 10 years, we're going to be talking about Skirmish as the turning point for Flesh and Blood.
So I've started to write a paper about Flesh and Blood for an academic journal, and skirmishes are a major component of it.
That's awesome.
It changed the market, and it changed the perception of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And it brought in a ton of collectors and investors and turned them into players. And all the time I hear... this is my first game, and then 3 weeks later I hear I haven't stopped playing. I just can't. I want to play as many skirmishes as possible, and it's not even as much about the prize for them. It's about just that they love playing.
And this is where I think there's a disconnect in the media consumption of Flesh and Blood, in the reality of Flesh and Blood. Like, I know that, I am sure, Louis, you won't admit this on camera, and that's fine with me. But I am sure you take a glance at how many viewers each video gets as a form of saying what works and what doesn't work. I will
completely admit that.
Okay, good.
Why haven't you seen any gameplay videos since I moved into my new house? I mean, it's just at the end of the day, things take longer to produce, and there's wins and
you don't get the clicks.
I spend about an hour a day looking at my comment section and my
views. Should not have said that. There's going to be so many comments now that I want you to remember this was a mistake.
I read every comment. I used to reply to every comment, but since I moved into the new house, I don't have time for that. But I will get back to it.
Some nasty stuff.
Do it. I love it.
I want to warn you.
I love it. Nasty stuff, encouraging stuff. Most of it's actually not. Most of it's pretty
I'm
sure.
Sure.
The Flesh and Blood community is better than most communities.
Oh, it's so much better.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
Yeah.
I like Pokemon support for LGSs a lot. I think they do a good job supporting LGSs.
Mm-hmm.
But man, their community, especially like on Facebook, man, you won't find me selling there. That's all I'll say. I'll sell Flesh and Blood on Facebook at a discount. For Pokemon, you can find me on eBay.
Right.
Like, I don't need to interact.
You don't need to interact with people there. Oh, that's funny. So you took a risk on Flesh and Blood. You took some boxes from your distributor. Your players loved it. You got more product in, and now what percentage do you think of your business is Flesh and Blood compared to other card games?
I would say it's probably about 30 to 40% of my complete business.
Wow.
I think I probably do. The problem, and I hate when people tell me this, like, oh, you're bashing Magic, look at their sales. Their boxes are $1 million. It's easy to do a lot of revenue when your boxes are $1 million.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to do a revenue when you're pumping through volume.
Yeah.
When I have lines of people wanting to buy a box at $80, that feels a heck of a lot better than having to force a kid to buy a $350 box for 12 packs. That doesn't feel good.
Well, and also, I mean, we talked about this, but you're a game store. You are trying to sell a collectible card game, and we've talked a little bit that Magic has kind of turned into like this IP where it's less about the card game and more about the deals for WotC. And so I think from your perspective, it makes way more sense to like encourage something that people are excited to play rather than encouraging something that is, in a lot of ways, I'll use other people's word, but a cash grab, where it's like there, all this flashy stuff is just kind of a cash grab rather than a game to be played.
I had this really bad moment where I had a kid buy 5 boxes of collector boosters, $1,250 trying to pull an Omnath full art foil. And he pulled it. Mm-hmm. He pulled it on the 5th box. It was banned a week and a half later.
Oh my gosh.
And he comes to me. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Have you heard of this new game, Flesh and Blood? If Drone and Brutality is banned, it'll go up by 10% or 10x.
And I told him, I was just like, I'm like, this is why I tell you all to be careful with this game.
Yeah.
You don't find me shilling on Magic the Gathering podcast. You don't find me talking about it on Magic the Gathering podcast. We did more than $1 million in Magic the Gathering. You don't find me pumping it.
Yeah.
It's just, and I'll speak for myself here. My rep, I'm sure I hope my rep turned off after he heard me say the good thing about WotC. I always get nervous when a customer comes in and spends a lot of money on Magic. They're never going to get their value back. But that's fine. I don't mind that, right? Like, if you look at sports cards, you never get your money back. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is they just seem to have given up on playtesting.
Yeah.
And the biggest breaking point for me was Commander Legends.
Yeah.
They sold that to stores. They sold that to consumers as you can finally draft Commander. That is completely unplayable.
Really?
Like, my favorite podcast ever, other than your What to Buy podcast, obviously, by far number one. Only if you're a patron. Thanks for the pizza, Louie. Is MTG Goldfish had a great podcast called "Would You Rather Sort Your Commons or Play Commander Legends?"
That is awesome.
And they had a debate about this.
I didn't know it was that bad.
Oh, it's unplayable.
Really?
This, Steve, my lovely store manager.
Yeah.
So Steve called me at midnight and asked me, and on a Friday, and Steve knows I'm in bed at 9 o'clock. You better the store better be on fire if my phone is ringing. So I thought the store was on fire.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Steve, what's up? He's like, hey, they just finished the first round. What do you want me to do? At this rate, they'll be done at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, give everybody free packs and kick them out.
Yeah.
It's like, last call, baby. Get out.
That's crazy.
And I had players tell me, I will never come back if you draft that again.
That's crazy.
I will not do it. It's a great box to open, great packs to crack, great cards, completely undraftable.
That's crazy.
And it shows they never play tested it. It shows they didn't do it right.
And that's why, from a store perspective, I totally understand, and I'm completely biased because I'm mainly flesh and I'm a 90. I tell people I'm 110% flesh and blood, and then I'll add 10% other content because I
heard you have a lot of Shining Fates now.
I can do 120% worth of content. But the I totally understand and respect as a store owner where you're like, man, the game is just it feels better for the people to play, so that's why you want to show it. It's not about the money. I mean, I'm sure there's money side of it that it is beneficial, but it is so much more about what is a happy consumer is a happy store owner. You know what I mean? And if you,
sure,
that's the type of stuff that brings people back into your store, week to week because they had a good experience, not just about them making money, which, I mean, in Flesh and Blood, the honest truth right now currently is that you make money and the consumer makes money, because even when you're making money per, as a retailer selling a box, your profits are better than Magic the Gathering. But when a consumer opens the box, and most times, 9 times out of 10, they're making their money back or more on this stuff, which is, I don't think that's going to last forever in Flesh and Blood. Eventually that will have to even out. Yeah. But for the next year, I think that's a realistic expectation. And so I totally respect that and totally get that, like, perspective of, like, it's just a better overall consumer product.
The most important thing is, if you buy a box of Welcome to Wraith Unlimited now, I know you can build a great deck. I know you can have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to not have to fill in a ton of holes.
Yep.
You can build a really, really, really good deck without a lot of luck.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you need some luck, but you don't need a lot of luck. You certainly don't need any luck to build a good deck.
Right.
You need some luck to build a great deck.
Right. And then you'll have cards to trade and to make the rest of it.
Absolutely. That's not true in any other game.
Totally agree.
That's not true in any other game. This is and this is where I always feel bad for the designer, right? Because I'm like, everybody always focuses on what his cards is worth, not the incredible design he did. Like, he designed an amazing game, and all we care about is what a heart is worth.
Yeah.
And like, man, he deserves a lot more credit than he gets, and it's not because he figured out how to help collectors. Like, that part's easy, frankly, right? Make a rare card.
Yeah.
Make a rare card, make it pretty.
And announce print runs.
Yeah. Ooh, the math is hard on this one, right?
Yeah.
Like, the hard part's designing an amazing game.
Right. That's true.
He did that.
It's 7 years to design it too, and the dedication and the love and the passion that goes into that, to, like, put together and really think of all the avenues over 7 years. That's incredible.
And I think people are getting it. Somebody posted, I think, a rather stupid Facebook comment last night about how he knows Monarch Alpha boxes are going to be $120 at release, because Crucible boxes were $80 at release. And I told him, I said, there's 2 problems with this. I said, first, I had Crucible at $80 for 6 months. I couldn't give it away. Couldn't give it away. I mean it. Like, they messed that up a little bit, in my opinion. I had no Welcome to Wraith. I had no Arcane. I don't think they saw the market taking off when it did, and that happens.
Yeah.
That's fine. I said, the difference now is not the supply. The difference now is the demand.
For sure.
I sell out of cases online instantly.
Right.
Instantly. I can't keep them in stock online.
Mm-hmm.
That's for unlimited. That's for things that aren't meant to be that collectible.
Well, and the amount of people who have already purchased $250 boxes is going to keep the price at $250. I mean, the market has sold out now of $200 to $250 boxes all over the place, every retailer, everywhere. And the raw fact is that so many people have a vested interest at $250 that they will just keep snapping up anything under $200 instantly.
Listen, I think even the $250 days are coming to an end.
Yeah, I agree.
Based
on the print run numbers that were announced today, I think for sure.
My gut, these are $300 boxes at release. That's always been my gut. That remains my gut.
Yeah, we were talking about that in our Discord last night. 300 to 350 was kind of the consensus. Everybody was like, I'm glad I got my orders in. Everyone's like, I can't wait for Compete Sports Bundle. Get one or two more boxes locked in.
There you go. So. We'll find I had hair before they announced I want you all to know that.
Yeah.
My hair looked like Louis before they announced Monarch.
You gotta get a hat, man. It's the key.
That's the key. Okay, I got to do that. I need a Monarch hat. Where's Alan? Alan, if you're watching this, I need a Monarch hat.
This is a good segue. Let's transition. We're 30 minutes in. We haven't talked about the market info and print run yet. So let's spend a good bit of time talking about market info, print run. As a reminder, they announced, everybody thought 22,000, right? That was all based on an assumption based on one conversation with James White. 500 hearts, 22,000 boxes. Now we know it's more like 418 hearts is what we decided last night. at 16,000 boxes.
So a competing YouTuber, a worse YouTuber, thanks for the pizza again, last night said that he thinks a heart is 1 out of every 60 boxes.
This is Rudy. Yeah, he says that all the time.
Wow, I didn't say that. I would never pump a competing YouTuber.
I love Rudy. Rudy comes in my comment section. He's not competing.
Hi, Rudy.
Rudy is not competing with me. If anything, I am competing with Rudy, but I don't compete with Rudy. I just want to.
Not yet. Next week, different story. What I don't know is I know he knows a lot of people at Flesh and Blood. He knows everybody.
Yeah.
Is that information that he has, or is that kind of Rudy talking?
Yeah. I think this is one of those things where Rudy says something that he knows is not the public consensus, and that he'll generate lots of comments. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think at this point enough people have probably said to him, hey man, everyone else kind of thinks 1 in 40 boxes. So either he has some sort of insider knowledge, which I don't know. I don't see LSS giving Rudy that much. That seems like a big play. That seems like a big play. I'm sorry.
I'm saying sorry. Nothing. I'm LSS retailer. I'm saying nothing about this at all.
I have more faith in LSS than telling Rudy that boxes are that Fabled is 1 in 60 boxes. I have more faith in that.
To be very clear here, I don't think James White is calling him with insider info.
Sure,
that would surprise me.
Yeah. What
I don't know is, did he see the print? Because keep in mind, I will bet you if you gave LSS Truth Serum, they wouldn't know how big this was going to get.
No, for sure.
Were they just talking to him about what the different card rarities are a year ago when nobody heard of this game?
Yeah, well, we've talked about, I think the 1 in 40 boxes based on, it makes sense in my numbers based on Crucible and the unlimited sets. But you've said that you think that the print runs are more forgiving in the unlimited sets.
I will say, I have seen far more people pull 2 L's out of unlimited than alpha.
Yeah,
by a mile.
I think for sure that the collation is probably wrong in unlimited. But that
I'm talking about the first run, not this run. This run, right? The wild.
Yeah. So I still think I don't know. I still think 40 bucks. Anyway, that's neither here or there. Yeah. What is here and there is that we went from, no matter what, whether it's 40 or 60, we lost 25-ish% of the market because it's 25% less printed, which is crazy.
I don't think people are reading this right. I'll be honest with you. I think people are thinking there's about 33% less boxes, so prices should go up about 33%. That's not the way the math works.
Mm-mm.
If you have 600 people wanting a heart, and they're willing to pay, you have 600 people willing to pay $30,000 for a heart, and there's now 25% less hearts, 33% less hearts, you now have the same number of buyers with a much smaller supply.
Yeah. Never mind the fact that you'll get more buyers because the risk is lower now that they have announced the print run numbers. I think that's in my opinion, that's the biggest thing.
I think the market is things should go up about 33%. I will be stunned. I will be stunned if things aren't doubled within 90 days.
Yeah.
Double. And I mean, I think the bigger takeaway for me is not the heart, even though I hope the heart goes up. I'll be rooting for your heart. Your heart and my heart beat together is how I'll phrase it. The biggest takeaway I have is that legendaries are rarer than Black Lotuses.
Yeah. And cold foil commons are not far behind.
No. Can somebody explain to me how a cold foil common is still $400?
I've been pumping cold foil commons since for months. The people who bought cold foil commons on my behalf. I mean, if I could charge you 10% on that, you'd pay it with great.
Oh yeah,
great. But everything.
Listen,
everything is rare.
I was anxious. You know this. I'm openly admit when I was wrong. I was anxious about your call about cold foil commons.
Oh yeah, dude, that was one of our first couple conversations. We were talking about legendary and cold foil commons. I said I'm going to tell people that they should be buying cold foil commons. You said I don't think that the market's going to accept them as much as the legendaries. And you're right, the legendaries are still way, way higher and way more desirable.
I think you're right on, I'll be honest. Like, I'm always one to admit when I was wrong. Mark Melanick knows this better than anybody because he was dead on about this game and I was dead wrong about where the prices would be at this point. You know, I think as a percentage gain, which is all that really matters in finance, right?
Yeah.
I think cold foil commons are the better bet.
Yeah, essentially, especially compared to the heart, the legendaries. I think what we're going to get into. I think the legendaries are incredibly undervalued still, especially when the heart the Black Lotus comparison. I think will never go away because that's so important. I think the better comparison is the number in print versus just the raw number of people who have an interest in having one. And there's so many people I hear that are like, I'm going to buy one the next time that they dip. I'm going to buy one. I'm going to buy one next week when I get my paycheck. And the amount of people that are interested in purchasing one is so much higher than the what? What did we come up with? 800 of each, 820 of each or something like that?
860 something, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what I also don't think people are realizing is that the virus meant a lot of stores were closed. And this means that a lot of stores have never done in-store play.
Yeah.
Most still haven't.
Yeah.
What happens when stores start in-store play for this? Look what happened at my store. Yeah. I went from begging 4 kids with pizza to getting 30 kids begging me to get more boxes.
Yeah.
Imagine if this market goes up tenfold in the next year.
Yeah.
Because more people get to play the amazing game.
And I think tenfold is, in my opinion, and maybe people will get upset about this, but tenfold is nothing. I mean, tenfold is, look at it this way. Tenfold is our Facebook, the Flesh and Blood Facebook fan page going from 4,500 people to 45,000 people.
Yep.
45,000 people is nothing. That is not a large number of people in a community of a worldwide game or worldwide phenomenon. You know what I mean? Like, I think this could easily 10x in the next 6 to 7 months, and then long term. I mean, I think we're in the next year to 2. We could see if something happens, one of those kind of black swan events, right? That again, we'll talk about. Rudy teased this black swan event in October. Something significant happening where another party gets involved, or some sort of gameplay change, right? Like the PvE element of this game, if they pump that into the market, could be like something completely radical and completely new that brings in 10,000 people literally in a month. You know what I mean? Like, I think that kind of thing can happen. And it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know I saw your very ominous video about big players lurking in the background, which seems to have aged pretty well, might I add.
Yes.
And I read your comments on that one, seeing if people were going to drop names, and they did.
Yeah.
Right now, a couple of your commenters mentioned Steve Aoki,
yep,
who I will admit I had to Google. I am not hip anymore. You youngins don't ever get old. It's not fun. You have to Google all these names you guys drop. Listen, if he's actually buying these people's cards, these people's collections, we know the DraftKings guy is now involved. I saw your video telling us that Gary V might not be long behind, maybe.
Yeah.
Listen, like, if Gary V sends out one tweet, says, hey, has anybody heard of this game? 10 times is going to look like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
I mean, like, most people have still never heard of this game.
Mm-mm.
Like, this is early. Like, I mean this. I mean, like, I think people are misunderstanding where we are in this game's journey because it has gone so fast.
Yeah.
You're still in the first inning, in my opinion. Now, I will put a very big caveat on this, and a caveat that nobody wants to listen to. Monarch has to be good.
Oh, for sure.
If Monarch sucks, the game's dead.
Yep.
Monarch has to be good. I trust it will be. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, frankly. I have a lot of boxes coming to me. Don't screw me, distributors. But, like, I believe it will be.
Yeah.
And my faith in LSS has been paid off, frankly.
Yeah.
But Monarch has to be good, and I would argue Kingdoms has to be good. I don't think you can. I think it's too early to have a bad set.
Yeah, and I think Monarch being one of the 4 original design sets, right? And I think what we remember from some conversations of the Q&A is that Monarch was actually designed first. And so I think Monarch's a really, really safe bet right now. I don't see a world where Monarch comes out. I think the community will have a little bit of negativity. There will be some cards that seem overpowered, and it'll take the community a while to figure out the cards. That's going to happen. But I think LSS knows what they're doing. Kingdoms will be a question mark because it will be the first set that was designed outside of that realm. And potentially, we don't know what Monarch's going to be, but if Monarch has the same 8 classes or whatever, maybe Kingdoms is the first set that really introduces some sort of new kind of tier 1 class.
I trust them.
Yeah, I trust them fully. Yep.
And I think, my gut is that Monarch will be very good. I'll write it down. This is the prediction board. Monarch will go down as the best set.
I like it. I think Crucible War is going to be hard to beat for me.
Supplemental set? That's like cheating. What are you doing? Like
Crucible War is like the beautiful treasure chest at the end of a quest. Like you open that box and it just feels good. Every card feels good, man. I'm telling you.
You can't say a supplemental set is the best set.
Here's what I want to know from you, George.
That's cheating. Yeah.
Arc and WTR 16,000. Okay. 1666, which is half of 35.7. Okay.
Yeah.
Crucible of War, which is 35.7. My opinion is that they made the order potentially of Arcane and WTR kind of at the same time, and made a payment of whatever it is for 35,700 boxes, and then did another payment for 35,700 boxes. Based on that, do you think that they originally intended for Crucible Unlimited to be printed, or do you think the idea was we're going to double print Crucible and never do an unlimited set? Okay, so then based on that, I don't think
people realize this. Like when Crucible came out, the first wave,
yeah,
I couldn't give it away.
Yeah, you could have given it to me.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe.
Yeah, we weren't friends back then.
No, you didn't have a channel back then. We weren't friends.
I did. It was just me opening packs with terrible video and me not knowing how to play the game. I had never touched Alpha. I had never touched WTR or Arc, and I was opening Crucible.
That's amazing. I like that. You're like, I don't know what this does. Like, it's all unplayable.
This card's really good. I'm sure it's great. It sounds like it would be really good.
Yeah. I mean, like, by the time when they ordered Crucible, nobody knew this game would be a success, including LSS. I think they knew the game might not die.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew that I would be yelling at my distributors, why can't I get more Welcome to Wraith Unlimited?
Yeah.
Like, I think that, my favorite story about this is I told both my distributors how much Unlimited I wanted. And they both thought I had absolutely lost my mind. Like, both of them tried to talk me out of that order. They're like, George, that's way too much. That's way too much. It's unlimited.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, the kids like the game. What do you want me to do? Tell them you can't buy it because it's unlimited?
It's the opposite.
I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny. Both of them have now eaten their lumps and apologized to me. I don't think they realized how big of a hit it would be.
Yeah.
When they ordered the Crucible print run. And I'm not sure they knew how big it was when they ordered the Monarch print
You
run.
knew my next question. That was it. So that's my thought, man. I think doubling from Arc and WTR into Monarch still makes sense to me at that order. When they had to order the boxes when they ordered the second print run of Crew, right? That's when I remember everybody starting to talk about print runs. They changed the date of Monarch. They pushed it back, right?
Push it back.
They pushed it back but they had already made the order. They only pushed it back so that they could get unlimited to release right after. So they didn't push it back because they were printing more first edition.
Nope.
They pushed it back because they were bringing unlimited closer. And so, in my opinion, we're going to see the same print run from Crew in Monarch, which is not going to be. And you don't have to don't answer if you don't want to, but I'm thinking 37,500 boxes of Monarch might be close to the number, might be closer than what people are saying of 60,000. And 60,000 is way too much.
So my gut is right around 50. But keep in mind, like, I remember, I hope none of your viewers are easily offended. I remember morons telling me that they thought there were 66,000 Crucible boxes.
Yeah, I've already called those people morons, so it's fine.
Yeah, good. Listen, I'm very forgiving of stupid opinions. God knows I have enough of them myself. That was a really stupid opinion in my thoughts.
It was short-sighted based on, I think what we see is people seeing the amount of boxes that were available for so long. But if you were to put 35,000 boxes in a room and put 4,000 people in a room, it would take a long time for those boxes to gather around the universe. And I talk to 5-6 people a week who say, I never got to open Crew. Can you send me Crew Commons? I never got to open Crew. And that's in my small community. And so if you scale that to our Flesh and Blood community, I think like somewhere between 25 and 30% of our current community never even touched Crucible of War First Edition. And so that's what drives me.
Yeah.
That's what drives me to say that.
Absolutely do Crew Unlimited. I think I am fully team. Let's do Crew Unlimited. It's for the players. Like, listen, I love my investors. I love selling high value singles at a margin. I appreciate it, all of you lovely customers. But man, let me tell you, like, my favorite Flesh and Blood customer is a single dad who comes in once every month and buys a case to bring it home and play with his kids.
Yeah.
That means more to me. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Saint. I'm sorry, all you big whales in the world, or what do you call them, sharks? I don't know your
I call them whales.
Okay, all you whales.
I'm a dolphin. I guess some people call, they're like, we should add a shark to hunt down the whales, but I don't think that actually happens in the ocean.
Maybe. I did not take zoology in college. Now I regret it. My gut is that I think that there's going to be about 50,000 boxes of Monarch. It's my gut. I have no idea. Let me be clear here. I hope there's 150,000.
Yeah.
I do. I hope there's 250,000 because we could sell them.
Yeah, we would sell them.
But I don't think there will be. People mistook the Crucible numbers because there were 3 waves.
Yeah.
What they didn't realize, despite me constantly telling this to people, that was news to everybody.
Yeah.
When my distributor called me and said, I got your Crucible here. I said, great, ship it. He goes, you're not going to be happy. I said, I'm never happy. Why won't I be happy today? He goes, well, it's a third of what you ordered. I almost slept through that damn phone, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's like, well, it's coming soon. It came 2 months later. Then it was hot.
Yeah.
Then it was hot. Then it was like a lot. All of a sudden, he got a little wishy-washy on my numbers for the first time on Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
Now, common theme.
Yeah.
That was actually been the first warning sign.
Yeah.
I think, I don't care how small the first print run is, as long as they keep doing big print runs of Unlimited.
Yeah, 100%
That's my
agree.
policy. If they tell me we're never going to do more than 50,000 boxes for the next 5 sets, I'm fine with that.
Let the collectors duke it. Let the collectors duke it out, and then let the players play. I like it.
Yeah. I don't. Especially because, like, even the Unlimited boxes, you pull some value from them.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll know this better than I will. What does Unlimited Eye go for? What does Unlimited Heart go for?
5 to 700, depending on when the last time the print run happened.
That's real money.
Yeah, that's way more than any Magic card that you're gonna open in an $80 box. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
All right, cool. So we talked about market info, print run change. We think the market's gonna react in the next 90 days is gonna be crazy. We're gonna see doubling across the board. We think Monarch print run. We don't think, both of us, we don't think it's gonna be more than 50,000. I'm on the lower side. I think 30. I think it'll be more like 40,000. Okay, last conversation, and then I'm gonna go hang out with my wife and daughter. And I'm sure you've got busy life things to get to too. And viewers, thank you guys so much. Everybody, give a shout out to George for being here. But before we get there, what do you think's undervalued, man? What do you think? I know you said, can I say everything?
Yeah, I mean, like, what's undervalued? Yes. If I were to go out today and spend $40,000, what would I buy? I think Welcome to Wraith boxes. Let me rephrase. Let me walk that back. I apologize. Arcane boxes are stupid.
I had offers of 2,100 on my Arcane box that I put out there on eBay to not sell and to generate offers. Last night it was blowing up at offers of 2,100, and then I raised it to $6,000.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think my gut is that you're going to see a couple of things happen in the next 90 days. I think you are going to see the first heart sell for 6 figures in the next 6 months.
Yeah. 9.5.
Yeah, the meme won't be a dream.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen. I think cold foil commons are going to be close to $1,000 soon.
Yeah, refraction bolters. You cannot tell me that refraction bolters cold foil is not $1,000 card. It's going to be played for the next 20 years if the game's successful. It's a warrior card that is amazing. I mean, it's just people are sleeping on them. I'm telling you.
I think they're still sleeping on them. I mean, like, I'll be honest. Like, after this, I'm going on eBay. So I'm glad we didn't do this live. I was going to do it. Yeah. I need the clicks, baby. Yeah. Now I'm glad you did that. You know, I think cold foil commons are really, really, really undervalued. Listen, I think legendaries.
Yeah, I'm already seeing legendaries selling at 2,200.
So a lot of them sold last night at 3,000.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. You know, and I think honestly, by Monarch, you're going to be hard pressed to find a cold foil legendary for less than $5,000.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I think your generic ones are 10 to 15 depending on condition, and your class specific are 5,000.
Yeah, and I tell people this: try to find me a cold foil tunic today.
Yeah,
like, I don't care what price.
And we were all laughing at the $15,000 ones a month ago.
I mean, like you know, somebody asked me, you know, he goes like, I know you've got a couple cold foil tunics. Like, what would you want for them?
Yeah.
And I was like, they're not for sale.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't find one. I'm like, I know this because nobody's selling them.
Yeah.
Nobody's selling them. You know, there's this very weird thing happening in the market where it's just bone dry right now. And I think now we know why, right? We could never figure out, like, how come nothing is selling?
Yeah.
Like, I know I look at your wonderful market updates, and every week you're banging your head against the table going, nothing is selling.
There's no sold listings. Nothing. No rainbow foil majestics, everybody. None of them sold. It's not possible.
And now we know why. There's none printed.
Yeah.
Like, now it makes a lot more sense as to why nothing sells. There's nothing out there.
Yeah. And the people who have them have no obligation to sell because their investment in it is so low. I mean, people were buying these things 6 months ago, a year ago, for $25, $30, and now their cards are worth. I talk to a guy all the time who has a rainbow foil and lightning strike. He gets offers on it all the time for $4,000. He paid $80 for the booster box, got a spring tunic and a enlightened strike out of the box. He paid $80 for the box. Why on earth? Why on earth would he sell it? There's no point in selling it. I mean, there's no risk for him. The game is only going up. I mean, at some point when it plateaus and it's been the same price for 6 months, at that point maybe you sell it. But like right now, every month everything's tripling or doubling in terms of whenever a sale happens. So,
and how many? We think there's about 800 tunics. We think roughly in the world.
Yeah, so you know there'd be
860-ish.
Yeah.
So let's parse that out a little bit, right? There's probably more than 5,000, probably more than 3,000 collectors, I would say, of Flesh and Blood at this point, of collectors, not players. Easy.
Yeah, I'd say so.
You can't have a collection without a spring tunic. I'm sorry.
Well, I can. I do.
Well, everybody but Lewin. if you're, Louis the Minnow, you got all the whales.
You're looking at. I tell you this all the time. You're looking at my investment in Flesh and Blood right now, and that's the channel. I can't afford a spring tunic, but I can afford to make YouTube videos.
There you go. I can't afford much, but that's it. That's good. Listen, it's clearly doing you well if it helps any.
Yeah.
You can't have a whale of a collector and not have a tunic.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's going to take a lot of money to pry that tunic out of another whale's hands.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's going to have to be.
And the whales don't need the money.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So you have to make them an offer that makes no sense.
Yeah.
That is going to be what I think you'll see of Fabled and Legendaries in the next 6 to 9 months. It will all be in whales' hands for cold foils. And you're just going to see them. You're going to see these prices. Somebody asked me, what would you sell your heart for? And I was like, I don't know, like 100, 110? You have to make it so that like I can sleep at night knowing I didn't get fleeced.
Right.
And like, listen, like, a couple hearts sold last night. I guess rumors like in the 40s. Like, you can start to see this happening where, listen, to all your viewers, if you have these things, at least in my non-advised opinion, this is just one idiot. This is one fat moron talking to a very good-looking moron. I wouldn't be selling Legendaries today for sure. I wouldn't be selling Fables today for sure.
Nope.
I think you're going to see those things get into the hands of whales, and the prices are going to get insane.
Yep.
I think the problem with that will be the market's going to be hard to find.
Yeah.
Who has the money for $100,000 piece of cardboard? It's a very small market.
Yeah.
It's a very small market. And this is going back to what you were right about that I was dead wrong on. This is where the cold foil commons can come and play.
Yes, because people like me can afford to splurge on a $500 cold foil common. Oh, 2 months ago, 2 months ago, a $300 cold foil common or $200 cold foil common, where it's like, I can't afford an eye, but I believe that I believe in the cold foil philosophy, and I want exposure to an alpha, so I'll buy, or in my case, I will trade for all of them. And then the last sleeper, dude. I mean, anybody who's watching 57 minutes into this video deserves to hear this. Let's look at the numbers for Majestic cold foils and compare those to the Legendary cold foils, because there's twice as many Majestic cold foils in the set of Crucible than there are Legendary cold foils in Arcane Rise, in WTR and Arcane. And so the numbers they're not the same as the Legendaries, but they're similar to the Legendaries. They are not 4 or 5 times the Legendaries. They are, 2 times or something like that? I haven't actually ran the complete numbers, but the Majestic cold foils from Crew with that run of only 2x of Arcane and WTR are, in my opinion, sleeping. They are sleeping.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that people aren't respecting enough, at least in my opinion again, is that the collector market and the player market, they seem to be very separate in this game. People are like, oh, the card's not good. Heart's terrible as a card. Like, how many of your players are playing with a heart? Not many.
Yeah.
Not many.
I agree with you with the heart. I disagree with you with a lot of the other ones, though.
What do you
like Spring Tunic? Spring Tunic is twice the price because it's played, and it's a generic one. So let's compare a non-generic one. But the Brave Forge Bracers is more expensive than was until people started speccing on Monarch. But the Skullbone Cross Wrap or
that's true.
What's the Brute one? The Scabskin Leathers. I think it follows what we didn't see that happen, and it wasn't until skirmishes. And when skirmishes started happening, and Tolarian dropouts and Tower Number 9 both started playing with these warrior decks and streaming, and everybody started watching, and then collectors started seeing the videos of them, and then purchasing those cards. So I think it is connected. I don't think the high value cards. So I don't think the eye, the eye and the heart, and even to some degree, like I think in the future, the legendaries will become less connected as they are more rare. But right now, I do think that the iconic cards have been accepted as iconic because of the gameplay, other than the Heart in the Eye.
Really? I'm not sure. So like my gut is I think like the Tunic people love it because of the look. It's a beautiful card.
Yeah.
I noticed you have a very nice playmat of it.
It's it's one of my
Andy, like, I think that the art matters a lot on the collectability of these cards. I think that's why E-Strike is worth way more than the other Rainbow Majestic in that set, right? I mean, it's because it's a visually impressive card.
Yeah, it's
iconic. That is, when you ask me like name the art, name a Majestic, it's E-Strike.
Yeah.
And Gambler's Glove is another one that does very well. I think because it looks great.
Yeah, and because it's just an iconic like conversation piece too.
Yeah,
I was watching a Gary Vee video yesterday, and we'll end the video on this. I was watching a Gary Vee video yesterday that was talking about. He was saying that he believes that as previous generations have put artwork in their house, my generation will put like graded cards. Like it'll be like a statement piece in your house.
We did not plan this. Did not plan this. This is an artist who's helping me with my ALS fundraising. And we have his cards all over the house.
That's awesome.
As artwork. That's absolutely right. I have no interest in owning a fancy pants 1%er painting.
Yeah.
I think cards, to me, is something I connect to a lot more.
Yeah. For sure.
Emotionally.
And the people who come into your house are, friends with you and have conversations, and that's what you want to have a conversation about. And you're like, and even your friends that aren't connected to the TCG world, they ask you what you're doing, and you're like, oh yeah, I just bought a, whatever. I just spent X amount of money, and they're like, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you don't have those conversations. I have those conversations with my friends of like, hey, I bought a $200 card, and they're like, why would you spend your money? Or a $50 NFT from MetaZoo. I
want you to know when you retire in your yacht and you name it MetaZoo, I want an invite. That's all I can ask you for.
That's where all my money is.
Come stay on it overnight. I get it, Louis. You have your own space. But when you get your MetaZoo yacht and you name it MetaZoo, I want an invite.
You will be the first person to come on my MetaZoo yacht. We will have matching MetaZoo yachts.
That's right. I want you to know I bought a lot of dumb things in the last year. That might be the dumbest.
Or it might be the best. It might be the best.
Yeah. I think here's the great part is absolutely one or the other.
Yeah.
It is not going to be a 10% appreciation.
Yeah.
It is either MetaZoo yacht or, man, don't let the wife find out I bought a stupid NFT. One of those two.
Anyway, my point being that it's becoming more publicly acceptable. It's becoming this thing where like collectible cards and everything. It's something that we put in our homes. It's something we share with our friends and family, and I think that's going to be really, really good for the game. All right, man. We are an hour and 2 minutes. This is not going to be the last conversation that we have. I love chatting with you on the phone.
That's not ominous.
But I do want to give you one more chance for anybody watching this late. We should have done this earlier, but you did mention ALS, and I'd love to give you a second to highlight that side of your life, because that is honestly, of all the things that drew me to wanting to work with you and have kind of consistent conversations with you, it's your heart for that kind of thing. Because my grandfather died from ALS, and I had a close friend that died from ALS too. So that's kind of what when I saw your promo of that stuff on the Facebook group, that's why I reached out to you the first time. So I'd love to give you a second to highlight that.
So I think there's two things. I think we're gonna do some cool stuff this year with Flesh and Blood and ALS.
Yeah.
I think we're ALS killed my dad. It's very people ask me, like, why do you care about ALS? I'm like, it's very simple. I was raised by a single parent, and he died from ALS. It's not hard to figure out why I care about it. And we're sponsoring a professorship at Duke. We are raising money for that. Your competitor, Rudy, has done a lot to help us with that as well.
He's not a competitor.
Oh, he wishes he was you, and we all know it. Hi, Rudy. I think, so he's done a lot to help us with Crucible box openings, and those things are going to go for auction in the next couple months. I'm going to beg Louis to give me a signed play mat to auction off in that same auction.
Oh, heck yeah.
You on the spot? Okay, good. That's why I did this. So I could put you on the spot. In for the pizza. I firmly believe that this will be the year we raise the final amount of money for the professorship, which is really crazy. It'll be one of, I think, 5 or 6 in the country for ALS.
Is that amount of money public?
So, yeah, if not, I'll make it public. We have risen 2.9 million roughly, and we need 3.5 million.
So we need another 600,000.
And I mean this. I've lost no sleep over that. Yeah. We're going to do that this year. And frankly, I think Flesh and Blood were responsible for about a third of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because I have a couple of special things going into the auction that are not public yet. But if you want an alpha box, maybe.
That's awesome.
And you want a tax write-off with an alpha box, I might have a perfect thing for you in the future. Look at that, the Louis spoiler.
There you
go. I just bought a bunch of Crucible boxes. Maybe one of those hits the auction block. Cool. I don't know. We're gonna do a lot of cool things. And I mean this, I love Flesh and Blood. I bought fleshandblood.com. I've really enjoyed my time in the community.
Yeah.
None of that matters a tenth to me as much as what we do for ALS does. As much as I love you guys, and I mean it. ALS is what calls my name.
Yeah. Well, and I think as we talk, I mentioned this, and this is also the first time that will be public, but whenever we're doing that kind of promo, and whenever you start really pushing that again, I'd love to do like a 24-hour stream where people can donate any amount of money, and I'll just be playing games. We'll just be streaming. It'll be like a full 24 hours of conversations with people in our community and patrons and whatever. We'll just be talking about random stuff. We'll be playing games. We'll be having fun. And then literally anytime somebody donates, we'll open a booster pack for them on stream and send them the cards. And I think just a way to generate, $5, $10 per person. If we can hit, if we can get $5, $10 per person, we can get 1,000 people to donate. That's, that's $10,000. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And
that's big.
And
that'll be great. I look, by then I'll know how to play the game. And we'll, maybe that'll be our game together. Really.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and it'll just be a cool little thing to help you guys raise some money. And I think it'd be a cool way to help our community, even if it doesn't raise money, help our community be aware of like the reason and the heart behind what you do as a main community member of Flesh and Blood. I mean, we'll finish this up and talk at the beginning where you said you sell way more Flesh and Blood than you thought. You know what I mean? Like we had this conversation last night. Like, you were shocked when you saw the print numbers because how much Flesh and Blood, the percentage of the complete print run that you've sold. And so you are a major player in that comes across as like investor. You are a major person, a major community member in our community, and people to see your heart, I think, is really important.
I appreciate that. I mean, it was very funny. Like in March of last year, so almost a year ago now, my wife and I had a dinner back then. This is right as you could still go out for dinner. Like this was right at that cutoff.
Yeah.
And I told her, like, I think I gotta go all in on Flesh and Blood. And listen, like, I think people look at it now and go like, oh, that was easy. You guys, it was impossible.
Yeah.
Like, did you know how hard that decision is to make? Like, I sold millions of dollars of Magic the Gathering. The TCG didn't carry this then. Channel Fireball didn't carry this then. It was one fat idiot alone on Facebook trying to like, hey, I got booster boxes for sale.
Yeah.
My first ever post to Facebook was trying to sell unlimited boxes, 2 cases, $80 a box. I'll pay your shipping and you get promos. I had 2 people buy it.
That's crazy.
I had 2 people buy it.
Yeah, you put that up today, you'd sell it in about a second.
Yeah. And like, but I believed in the game.
Yeah.
I believed, and I've always believed this. Better products tend to win. Like, it doesn't always happen. I'm not an idiot. I've studied, I have a couple degrees in economics, frankly. I understand it doesn't always win. But man, if you can help a better product win, don't you have an obligation to do so?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I feel. I feel an obligation to the community. People are like, oh, why, when I sold my $80 booster boxes of Unlimited, everybody else was at $125. And I said, that doesn't feel good, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's not helping the game grow.
Yeah.
You're pricing people out of Unlimited now? Like, when does this stop?
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem charging over retail for first edition, which you guys will all soon see. But I mean, like, for Unlimited,
yeah,
man, that's for players.
Yeah.
Don't gouge a player. That's bull.
Yeah.
Like, that kills a game. And I have an obligation to support the game.
Yep.
I feel an obligation to Flesh and Blood. I'll be honest with you.
I love it, man. I love your heart, and I love our conversations. And comment section, you don't need to tell me to get George on again, because George, I think, it's going to be a regular here on Kitchen Table TCG. But let us know in the comment section what you agree with us, what you disagree with us. Let us know what you think is going to happen with Monarch in terms of print runs. Let us know what you think is going to happen in terms of prices of legendaries and prices of the Fabled. Will we see $100,000 Fabled sell in the next 6 months, like George says? Or will everything go 9 months? Or will everything go to zero? And
don't do that. Don't do that. Wait a minute.
Please, no. My wife will be very upset.
Oh, that'd be a tough call. I'll be honest. Don't do that. Don't predict that. I don't even want to read that. Don't you dare write that.
Well, George, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you being here.
You too, bud. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend, okay?